terms or medical claims? Let's get going. So, if you wouldn't mind, we're going to welcome you to Avini Vibes. Today's Thursday, May 2nd. So, May's a really passionate month for me. Does anybody know why? I want to guess. First Saturday, May. Any trivia questions? Any trivia answers? Kentucky Derby. So, first Saturday, May. My
Oh, yeah.
birthday for it. Yes. So I said last night on corporate call me if you want a hot tip. All right, so there you go. So anyway, thank you. My name is Christine Rolando. I'm the host of Avini Vibes with my co-host. If you don't mind, mute your background. We got a lot of background going on, so thank you. So if you wouldn't mind, mute. And then what we'll do is we will come to you when we're going to ask a question. You can raise your hand, and Carol always helps here as a technical person. Couldn't do it without Carol Witt. And Dr. Chip's in the house. And I have to tell you, what a blessing. Finally, I met Dr. Chip and I met Dave. I met a lot of you in person at the conference. What a blessing. We're going to talk about that as we go through this tonight. I know many of you were there, and we had just an amazing summit in Las Vegas. It was like second to none, so many wonderful speakers. And I just want to take the moment to say how grateful I am to be on the SEAL Team 7. So SEAL Team 7, I got a couple of them, Eddie Q, EQ, Roxana. What an opportunity that was. Enika's in the second group, and I have to just share a quick story, and then we're going to get started. So it was tough for us because they put us in a position, I say in a good way, we had to go out. People put forth their applications. We only had 100 applications. And then each SEAL team member, there were 7 of us, came up, and people came up and they were sharing and they wanted to be in the SEAL team group, the next group. And it was not easy because we had to hand out, as people as asked for the applications. So Hannah Stringer, I just want to call her out because I put Hannah on the spot. I had 2 applications left and I said, Hannah, you do it. You do it. And she's amazing because you know what she did? She gave them away. So Hannah, let's give her a thumbs up and grateful for what you did, Hannah, to share that. And I know that many of you will be in that SEAL team group, the next group. And as Neil said last night, there'll be opportunity for more of that going forward. So no one will be excluded. It was amazing. So again, just a couple housekeeping, no medical claims. At the end, we'll go ahead and you can raise your hand and we're going to answer your questions. We're going to be blessed tonight with our new topics to go over our new products. We have Chip's going to deal with that and answer questions. So I know how excited all of us are about this. But I want to introduce you to Dave Neff. Had an opportunity to listen to Dave first on one of the conference calls, and just he blew me away of his knowledge and his expertise. So Dave Neff, I said, hey, Dave, send me your resume. Well, when you have how many years experience, 50 years experience in corporate employment, but in health and wellness, it's not always easy to give you a resume. So we're going to summarize that and say he's the best. He's a world 6 times corporate retired. So welcome, Dave. Join us tonight, and we want to hear your story, and we want to hear all about why you got involved with Avini and what do you know as far as your passion, which I heard on your voice today. So thank you and welcome. The floor is
Thanks.
yours.
Thanks, Christine. Appreciate it very much. Well, I might talk a little fast. Sometimes I get going with my excitement, and you might need an interpreter once in a while. I also jotted a few notes down because kind of want to keep it in timely. So, well, I guess one of the things I would say first is I'm the second oldest of 11 siblings. And it's been kind of interesting. That's from the same parents. I guess I should add that nowadays. But anyway, and the interesting part about it, it was just a huge blessing in my life to be able to read a scientific study way back when I was about 20 years old at the Stanford Medical Library. And that particular study, I could detail the study with you. It was about organically grown alfalfa and was very, very interesting. And sometime if somebody wants to hear about it, they can. But it marked my life with an insatiable interest in natural health for myself initially. I wasn't thinking about other people at the time. I was trying to become the best runner, and I was kind of trying to become an Arnold Schwarzenegger and a few things like that. And not all of those turned out perfectly, although I have been a lifetime runner and a bicycler, and I do lift a few weights. But all that aside, I would say that at the beginning of that natural health interest, within about a decade, I developed a marked interest in helping others. Maybe partly because some of my siblings began to call me and say, "Hey, Dave, what are you doing for this? What are you doing for that?" And so on and so forth. And so I began to have a real heartfelt desire to see how I could help other people and educate them into helping themselves, taking care of themselves, etc. And the interesting part about it is some years later, and this is what really, really excites me about one of Avini's newest discoveries here. About 20, I guess, yeah, it was about probably 20 years later, I invested about $20,000 into a piece of medical equipment called a DPA system, stands for digital pulse analysis, and a digital pulse analyzer, whatever, for testing the cardiovascular system. And then in time, I was invited by medical doctors, naturopathic doctors, chiropractors, and other medical practitioners around the country and in Canada to come and test their patients and maybe even some of their employees and so on and so forth. So what I would do is I would travel around the country and I would go in for a week. And on Monday, I would do a seminar for all of the patients and whoever wanted to listen and describe what my system was going to test, what we were going to find out. And then teach them how to naturally reverse the problems we found and or prevent problems if we didn't find any problems. And the interesting part is cardiovascular disease was the biggest killer. And so about 90+% of everybody I tested had serious issues. Serious issues. It was just shocking to me.
What was the percentage, Dave? I'm sorry.
Over 90%.
My goodness. Okay.
And so it's interesting. I mean, it's the world's biggest killer.
Yes.
And still is. It's being challenged by some other diseases. But anyway, all that said, when I tested these patients and taught them how to reverse it naturally, I was working with some information that I had learned through Dr. Louis Ignato. And I don't know if you can see this. It's kind of hard to see on my system. No more heart disease. How nitric oxide can, I'll just read it. How nitric oxide can prevent, even reverse heart disease and strokes. Dr. Louis J. Ignato. And Dr. Ignato is a Nobel laureate, won the Nobel Prize with a couple of other doctors for discovering what he discovered about naturally reversing this problem. And interestingly enough, and excitedly to me, I saw Rick cite one of his studies. And I'm going, yes! I mean, it's just absolutely, I'm going, what, huh? We're going to have a product that actually is going to help with this problem. This is outstanding to me. Anyway, so later in my life, I discovered some significantly interesting things, though. And this really, really, really changed my outlook to somewhat of a negative one at first, because what I was finding out was that many of the herbs and vitamins and minerals and different types of natural types of formulations and so on started to work less and less effectively at helping with not only cardiovascular disease, but all kinds of other types of things. And so the people that I was seeing get well from major problems and stay well from major problems were starting to not get well as quickly or not at all. And some of the well people were starting to get ill and so on and so forth. And I thought, this was like in the last 2 decades. And I thought, what is going on? And then to top it off, 5 of my siblings have died of different types of cancers. Okay, and that's as far as I'll go with that, except to say that when they developed these bad cells in their bodies, we couldn't figure out why. And the 5th one was just about 4 months ago. And the interesting part about him is he was at stage 4 for 8 years with his situation. And he was basically almost pretty much comatose on oxygen, laying flat on his back at his home. And we thought we were going to bury him within a few days. And his name is John. And I was only 50 miles from him, so I was up there helping quite a bit. And Sherry Knowles knew about this. And so she called me 2 years ago, May. And she told me she had heard about something that she thought I was going to want to know about for my brother John. And I thought, wow, what could that be? We've tried everything. He spent out of his own pocket over $150,000. No insurance there. That didn't count as insurance. Just trying to get well from all kinds of different natural means. Nothing was working. Nothing I suggested. It was very demeaning, very frustrating. And then when Sherry called me and told me about this, I said, well, what is it? And she said, well, I don't even know yet. But anyway, got me connected with Rick and his studies. And after reading numerous peer-reviewed studies, the thought that kept coming into my mind was, this can't be true. This can't be for real. Then I thought, wait a minute. Hold on. I had to step back and realize I was reading studies out of actual medical journals. This wasn't somebody trying to sell me something. This was real studies, peer reviewed. That's when I thought I owe it to my brother to at least get some of this and try it with him. I didn't think about me. I didn't think about a business. I didn't think about anything. All I wanted is get some of this stuff, get it in him, and see what would happen. Because we were really, literally, we thought a day or two from burying him. And so I spent about $1,500 and ordered a bunch of stuff and ran up, drove up there. I didn't run, but anyway, drove the 50 miles up there. And basically I was just sitting there pulling his lips apart. He didn't know what I was doing, putting drops in. And we did it every hour and got as much fluid into him as we could. He had no idea what we're doing, couldn't talk or anything. About a month and a half later, all of a sudden, he said, and we're going, he's talking. How can we keep pulling on my lips? It's like, well, welcome back, Mr. Ornery. It was just so exciting to see. And so then we went on, and it took about 15 more days, up to 2 months, and he could finally understand what I was trying to explain to him about well, if you got somebody that's comatose and just coming out of it and you're saying things like clinoptilolite zeolite, and it doesn't ring too well. Anyway, he finally understood what I was saying, and then he got his Apple Watch out of his drawer there and took his about 2 months at the 2 month point, he took his oxygen off and started getting out of bed and doing things. And anyway, he set his watch for every 30 minutes to drink some water and every hour to ingest some cell defender drops.
Wow.
Then he began using, shortly after that, within a month, he began using Zuminity and Plus Fiber and Nano Silver at the time. That's what he was using. Anyway, so then in about 4 months' time, the big monster tumor, not tumor, in that case, it was a gland, which had swollen up to about a grapefruit size under his ear, pushing his ear way up out of shape and stuff. And another couple others that were about softball size, or actually hardball size, under his arms and things like that. These all receded. And within 4 to 5 months, they couldn't find anything. It was like, it's gone. And he lived a year and a half in excellent health with his 5 children, 5 or 6, I forgot which now. Anyway, and his grandchildren and us siblings and so on. And then now understand this. Let me explain this. And then all of a sudden, in 2 weeks, we buried him. It's just like, wow, what happened? And after discussing this with Rick a little bit and some others, and I think Chip and I talked about it a little bit, several different people I talked to, I ended up taking all of his studies, his urine studies, his blood studies, and so on, which I had for 8 years. And most of them were done quarterly. And when I put these down and laid them out chronologically, I could see that his organs in that stage 4 condition were lessening in their performance little by little by little by little. So that by the time I looked at the 8th year, it's like, wow, how is this guy even alive? Yet he was operating like nothing was wrong. And then suddenly when we buried him, basically one thing that I was told is kind of layman's language here, is he was operating on battery power, because so long at stage 4, his systems had basically gone so far down that after we got the heavy metals out of him, he started working, he started living like crazy. And it was like he was on battery power. When the battery ran out, he had no systems to recharge it.
But let me just recap here. If someone just came on, he was in stage 4 for 8 years, Dave.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh my goodness, what a blessing, though. You gave him back. God gave him back his life and being able to come alive again to see his children and family. But keep going. I want to hear the rest of the story.
All right. It's interesting because, yes, he himself was convinced that God gave him some new life, but he was a happy camper. He knew he was going to see Jesus. And bottom line is, he went beautifully, but he set the scene for the rest of us siblings like nobody's business. In fact, I spent, by the way, it's been actually 59 years that I've been involved in natural health now. Just turning the corner on one more year and it'll be 60. So, no, I'm not 80
Wait a
yet, but
minute. Doesn't
almost.
he look too young for that? Thumbs up. All right, keep going.
All right, let's go out for a run. No, anyway, so I was in the Vietnam war zone for 2 years, and when I got out, my one of my siblings, Steve, the army wanted to send him in, and at that time you couldn't send two siblings in at the same time, or they didn't do that. But anyway, as soon as I got out, literally on the way out, he's on his way in. He got way too much Agent Orange and things like that, and had a bunch of tumors popping out that had to be removed and things like that. And then all of a sudden, in the last 5-6 years or so, he developed some prostate problems that were massive. And then here John has this comeback. Steve's going, what are we doing with John? Whoa. And so he jumped on board and started using these things. And I will just say, within the first 3 months, his PSA numbers dropped way down to 6. And in the second 3 months, so now we're at 30, 60, 90 days? No, 120, whatever it is. Anyway, 3 months at a time. So 6 months, he was down to 2.0 on his PSA numbers, and which is under 4.0 is healthy. Wow. Then 3 months later, 9-month point, his doctor calls him and says, Steve, we've got to do a biopsy. Because I'm amazed at what happened to your numbers, but I got to know. You need to know, because when we first did those first scans, he said, some of we saw some very serious things going on, and we need to know if those are straightened out. Steve finally said he didn't want to, but he finally decided, okay, let's do it. Let's prove it. Did the biopsy, found not a sign of a bad cell, not a sign. And so needless to say, now family members are jumping on board with this and trying to reverse things and keep healthy in some cases. And it's just been exciting to see after losing so many siblings, And one of the reasons, by the way, we think that we had this this leaning toward having bad cells was because when we were little kids, Dad built a new house in San Jose, California. And at that time, there was virtually no concrete there. It was all orchards and strawberries and all kinds of things. And right behind our house, we didn't have any fences or anything. Right behind the house was, I don't know, 50 to 100 acres of strawberries. And a fun, exciting time for us when we were little was watching the crop duster, the double-winged little airplane, come down and dust that thing. We're out there playing in the dust, We didn't realize that all that white dust was DDT. We didn't know what DDT was. So we're all just breathing it in and playing in it and whatever. So it's no wonder different types of bad cell issues took over some of our lives, And
well,
so
Dave,
all that said,
I just want to applaud you for being the bold one in your family to step up, because family members don't always listen to us, right? I mean, some of us on this group will probably know that we've been trying to share it with family members. They don't always listen, but thank God for your brother John and Steve. So go ahead, keep going. Yeah, we were all jumping in. I lived by Pfizer Pharmaceuticals. I lived in Bergen County, New Jersey, and they were dumping a lot of stuff in our water, which I know for sure. But, here we are tonight and you're sharing this. So go ahead, Dave, keep going and share what you've learned.
Well, it's truly become very, very clear, very, very clear. It came clear to me before I read the studies, but I started reading a whole bunch of studies online about heavy metals and their connection to disease of various kinds. And by the way, I would encourage anybody who doesn't know about this yet, you go on Google or any search engine you want, and you type in the name of a disease and add the words "and heavy metals." The disease name and heavy metals. And you'll find study after study. I actually did that with one of the major diseases, the bad cell major disease. Anyway, I did that the other day for somebody to help them. And the first 5 pages had 67 different studies. And I just stopped copying studies to him. That I figured, okay, hey, do it yourself. You can look at the hundreds more. Anyway, it's amazing to me how connected they are. So one of the notes I put down is the fact that my siblings and I are extremely interested in stopping this trend in our family, and we're excited about what it's doing after being plagued for that many years. It's really working, and so we're thankful to God for what He allowed Rick to be able to discover. Let's put it that way. So now, I guess I would say that I am thoroughly delighted to hear about the recent 2 discoveries. And I really want to focus, even though Plus Mind and Vision has already been amazing for me in the 7 days I've been using it, because I've had some serious problems developing in my right eye. And my VA doctors are watching it real close, and they want to do things that I don't want to do, and so on and so forth. But now all of a sudden, today, somebody was asking me about that one and wanting to get it. And I was looking across the room, and I closed my left eye, and things were in focus for the first time in months and months and months. Anyway, so I'm excited about my next appointment. I want to see what's going to happen there. But let me focus on Plus Cardio, because when I spent time with Dr. Louis Ignaro, he's passed away since, but and reading his book, I take this book with me all over the country when at least when I used to fly all over the country all the time and using my equipment to test people. And it's been very, very interesting, because when Rick cited one of his studies, I just went, wow. I mean, I didn't want to disturb everything and knock him out of his stance up there, but I got excited, I'm telling you. So it's been amazing to see the changes that all these natural health type things that I've used over the years have been making, since we have now focused on being able to effectively clean out heavy metals and toxins from the body. I mean, that is so exciting to me. It was the answer to the problem I started seeing in the last couple decades, where different nutrients wouldn't work as well as now. They're working beautifully. Why? Really, the body's taking care of itself. Like Rick says, you take the heavy metals and toxins out, it's going to begin to fix itself like it was designed to do. And it's doing that. So we need way less of a lot of these nutrients now. But there's nutrients, all kinds of nutrients and health foods and whatnot that are good for us, no question about that. But the bottom line is, when you take the heavy metals and toxins out, the body begins to fix itself. So let's see. I think I had one more note I was going to share with you.
Please.
And cleaning out the heavy metals is making our bodies respond to the good nutrients better, to good nutrition and so on. So what I wanted to say, I don't know what the age group is of everybody listening tonight. I know that in my particular age group, okay, so I'm what? I'm supposed to turn 80 in a year, right? Okay. I'm excited about it. I'm so thankful to have the kind of health I really need to get out and try barefoot skiing like Chip, but I haven't done that yet, but we might be working on that. Anyway, so what I wanted to say is this information is vitally important for younger folks to understand. And it saddens me when somebody says, I'm healthy, I don't need anything, Yeah, you're healthy. What you don't know that's going on is what we can take care of right now before you find out about it, because it's happening to everybody. I was flying down into San Jose not too long ago, to my hometown. And as we came down, it was nice and sunny, and I'm looking across at the familiar mountains that I'd seen for my life, so to speak. And there's this dark, black, brown, just like a layer of filthy fog all over the place. And guess what? It isn't just over there. We're coming down into it. So when we get off the plane, breath of fresh air. Scratch the fresh part, you know? We're breathing that stuff all the time. So I say to the young people, why wait until you're severely ill to clean the heavy metals and toxins out? Listen to the wisdom here. Wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to live many more years without having to experience major diseases like a lot of people are? I mean, look around at your family members. This one has that disease. This one has the other one. This one's got that one. And we're trying to figure out why that one can't think, and so on and so forth. And I mean, the possibility of cleaning out before you have a problem is so real. And I can't. Am I enthusiastic? I think I am. Anyway.
Oh my gosh. And I love the fact that you talk fast because I'm from New York and I talk fast too. So I always got to slow down. But I love the fact that you're talking fast because, I just want to see a show of hands. If anybody in the house here has children, anybody have children? All right. So we know we're dripping on our children, right? We're telling our kids. And I'm blessed too because my kids now, like they grew up with me saying about this stuff. And now professionally they're doing it. And I see Novella, she's and Nikita, they're laughing, they're smiling. Like we are doing what we're doing. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be sharing with not only the world, but when we went to the summit, Dave and Chip, I looked around and Chip, you remember the guy pointed out, remember that tall guy? And I said, that guy's going to Diamond for sure because he was young. He was probably the youngest person in the house and he was enthusiastic and he got it. He got it. So I'm encouraging all of you is let's take what Dave said tonight. We're going to divert a minute and Chip's going to talk about the products. But yes, I know, Roxana, let's share with our kids and let our next generation go out so they don't have to experience the awful things that we get that phone call that one of our family members is dealing with, whatever they might be dealing with, bad cells. But Dave, that was a breath of fresh air. I love your enthusiasm. I can't believe you're going to be 69 this coming week. Is that right?
You might want to add 10 years to that, but
Well, you don't look it. You don't look it, and God bless. Let's all go barefoot water skiing. Chip, you with us? Love to hear your insight tonight, Chip. It was so nice to finally meet Chip in person.
Well, I am, and I really appreciate you bringing Dave with us. And I did think it was a little bit harsh of Christine to recognize. He said, "Well, Dave, you're the bald one of your siblings," or was that bold? I mean, who would point that out? I mean, anyway, but and he is a fast talker, and then when he presents himself, and I think this is important for all of us to pick up the way that he postures. I've been interested in healthy living for a long time, and he gave some details about that, and he talked about wanting to improve himself. So he's a runner and a biker and a lifter and does all those kind of things, and got sent into the danger zone with Vietnam. And then the same thing happened to his brothers, and 11 of 12 siblings, and 8 of them are gone already. And that deal about the battery power with John was 5 are gone. He's gesturing. So that comment was so interesting because he was able to bring him back so far, but they all, I think maybe John himself had a sense that he was running on borrowed time, and that thing about battery power. So now we look at the new products we've gotten, which are kind of focused on, our other engine, our organs, the things to support the organs. And it is true that the products, talk about specifically the heart and the eye and the brain. You could have easily named those products for different organs because the support is going to go, system wide, all systems, just like everything that we have does. And we will focus, I'm sure, on those particular organ systems and the particular benefits to each of those. I thought it was interesting, and I'm a little bit of a tech guy, but when I listen to you guys speak and I'm around you, I become a bit of a color commentator. I think I get a kick out of everybody. we were talking with Carol right before it opened, and she went and got her passport, and they wouldn't let her smile for the passport photo. Well, I knew that because Marcy got a new one recently, and she wanted to have, a cheerful, presentable passport photo, but they want it to look like a mugshot or like you're bummed out. I mean, for a couple of seconds when the camera's flat, you're not allowed to be the happiest you've ever been because you're going to go travel the world, right? That should be one more reason to be the happiest you've ever been. And Mars fought that too. They made her take it several times over again because she wanted to have a nice looking picture. And isn't it strange? Some of the things that we as humans, yeah. I thought it was especially gigantically important that Dave had a perspective where he was wanting to help people with the building blocks of good health during his career. That was something that, welled up within him early in his career. But then he noticed that the things that had always been working were providing diminishing returns. How many people noticed that and had that question in their mind? We run into people that don't have the question in their mind. They're not even suspicious that they might be polluted. I think everybody by now is that we are polluted in mass and cleaned up one at a time. That's really what Avini's about. And now we come in with additional support for all of our products. So on the pollution thing, if you drive in or fly into a big city and all of a sudden you look down and, when you get down in there and you're in the hotel, you're not afraid to take a breath because you can't, the air isn't what you saw when you were landing or when you drove in and you saw that massive cloud on the horizon. I had a guy come out to Los Angeles to the lake, and it'll be my 65th year in a row water skiing since 1959. Can't be too many of those when I ski this year. And came out to the lake from Los Angeles, and it got dark, and he looked up at all the stars. And my buddy Bert looked up at the sky and he said, "I don't see how people live out here." I said, "What do you mean, Bert?" He said, "How do you trust air you can't see?" It's where he lives, you can see the air. It's a cloud of, right? Cloud of pollution. Air is not supposed to look like a cloud of pollution. So yeah, we do trust air we can't see, but even here, the spray plane still flies. And I'm watching Enoch up there in the corner, and as we sit here, each one of us gets the same size of a square on the box. But when I sit down in the crowd, usually I get one chair on each side because I'm too big for people to sit next to me. And I got a kick out of meeting Enoch. She's one of those people. She is like you, Dave. She's apparently a natural. She looks fast standing still. And Dave's kind of like that too, that, natural athletes. So anyway, I get a kick out of that stuff. So let's take a look a little bit more in depth at the products. Once again, trying to have a little fun with being alive. There are, three ways that you can wear your hat. Well, four. I'm going to come up with 5 ways you can wear your hat tonight, just for the fun of it. Roxana's on the edge of her seat for this one. Off, on, lock, and this one is don't hire me. Okay, something like that. But now we could just turn around the other way, and let's add to it what we're going to do with Avini, and we're going to look just a little bit more in depth at things. And so,
oh my,
let's just take a look at our cardio care, our plus cardio. Okay, what have we got in there? Coenzyme Q10, L-arginine, L-citrulline, grapeseed extract, 90% polyphenols, ascorbyl palmitate vitamin C, selenium hawthorn, proviscopine, taurine, detoxylite, and beet powder. Well, probably many of you are familiar with some of those ingredients, right? You're maybe familiar with some of those ingredients. And so you look at them and you say, wow, that is a powerful combo. I remember asking Rick one time, what are you doing that I need to know about? What are you looking at that's coming? And they usually don't want to tell you about new products that are headed this way. But he did for one of the guys who had trouble with his heart. He said, take a look at Hawthorne. Well, I thought, okay, well, Rick's looking at Hawthorne. And he cited studies where just with Hawthorne, people began to reverse heart dysfunction. And here we have a product where that's, you know, one of the many ingredients. Coenzyme Q10, when I worked in the pharmacy, we had a pharmacy with a heart. And when we would hand some of the prescriptions out the window, you knew you were hurting the people. Mm-hmm. You know, with a statin drug, you know that you're impeding the function of the liver in order to reduce the cholesterol. It does reduce the cholesterol. You can show that in a study. What you can't show is that reducing cholesterol with a statin improves heart function, because it doesn't. But it wound up being one of the most highly profitable drugs to be marketed today. When you hurt the liver in that way, you also impede the production of coenzyme Q10. Mm. So we would tell people, you need to take CoQ10 if you're taking a statin. And one of the things it will do is, if your legs are, you know, weak and hurting all the time, the coenzyme Q10 works in every muscle. And remember, Rick said there's 10 times as many mitochondria in each of your heart cells as in the other cells, because it's running all the time. That's just the first line. Then L-arginine and L-citrulline, crucial amino acids. Interestingly enough, where else do you see these ingredients showing up? In male and female human performance products. So we don't have a male product, we don't have a female product, but as far as human sexual function, you know, it doesn't say it on the bottle, but I guarantee you, the ingredients that are the most common are here. And when Mark and Robin West got up and Robin started talking about how different Mark is, my comment was, when Robin West talks about this product, sales go up. Okay, I'll give you a second with that.
I'm going to stop you a minute. So yes, these recordings on the summit, if you don't know what Chip is talking about, go back and watch it, because it's amazing. So they were recorded at Summit.
They are there, and Rick did it again last night, and he'll do it again on Saturday, and we'll start going over and over and over it again. Grapeseed extract, pycnogenol. You guys remember studying pycnogenol? It was either from grapeseed or it was from pine bark. Remember way back in the day, I bet Dave was one of the earliest people to have very, very high level antioxidants. And so we've got that in there. Polyphenols, same thing. Part of that same idea. And he said vitamin C is really important, but most vitamin C is water soluble. Here we have ascorbyl palmitate vitamin C, which is a fat soluble vitamin C. So we're able to move it through membranes in a way that we couldn't with the water soluble. Super, super important. Selenium, it's just one beneficial metal. So selenium happens to be one of the biologically active metals. There are areas of China, if you can get a hold of a little bit of selenium in a supplement, you are equivalent to an entire hospital complex, because they miss it. It's absent in their soils. And so the concept of supplementing with selenium can reverse pretty much every health conditions in those areas of China. So selenium is one of the most important biologically active metals. Hawthorne, once again, on its own, by itself, able to reverse some of the types of heart dysfunction. I thought it was cool that Rick talked about how we measure hearts and function. And there's two ways. I knew of one. I actually didn't know of the other one until he said it. I knew that our ejection fraction, how much of the blood leaves the heart each time it pumps, should be about half of the volume. So ideally, someplace around a 50% ejection fraction is a healthy person. But the other thing that he said is the kind of an indication of the total volume, and that is how much remains after half of it is gone. And he called it, it's left in the left ventricle. So the term had something to do with left, and it was in the left ventricle is where the blood that remains in the heart each time it pumps stays there. And you don't want it to have mixing back and forth between the good and the bad. That's if you got leaks in the valves within the blood. Brevicapine, he talked about some of the ingredients being so incredibly expensive that people would put them on the label but barely put any in their products. If Rick puts the name on the label, he has gone through the research, and it is the efficacious level of the ingredient that's in our products. Think about this, you guys. A definition of an engineer is somebody who understands the nature of building materials and what you can make from them. You know, we saw that bridge collapse, and it's amazing to see a bridge stand. Well, engineers are able to calculate that. A biochemist is a lot like an engineer, except he understands ingredients and how they work into our system. So think about it like a biochemical engineer, maybe just help you understand the nature of the man, Rick, a little bit. Taurine, amino acids again, detoxolite is obviously that's our core competency. We are the company that is able to remove the stumbling blocks and therefore go and get that diminishing return that Dave Neff witnessed during his career. When doing the right things, finding all the right building blocks wasn't good enough because there was something stopping them from working like they should. Okay? All right. And the last one, beet powder. If you've been watching, you know, the world lately, anything that has to do with circulation is going to have to do with beet powder. And it's going to be purple. We had a great purple beet dish at one of the meals there in Las Vegas. I hate to tell you, hate to admit to this, but I am one of the world's foremost experts on growing sugar beets. I've studied it from one end to the other, worked with countries all over the world. I live at a university where it's a major area of study. We have one of the biggest factories in the world in my hometown. And we do have a little bit of problem, and that is the leaves are super healthy. We cut those off and return those to the ground. The beet itself is still pretty healthy, but we take the fiber out of it and feed it to cattle. The only thing we give to the humans is pure white crystalline drug quality sugar. Yep. That'll kill you. One of the most, you know, if I was going to give you a free idea tonight, quit eating sugar. Amen. It doesn't cost a penny, and it's more powerful. I guarantee it's not just powerful, it's equally or more powerful than any product I'm representing tonight. If you can just slam the door on the sugar. But we play in the world of addiction. Yep. And you know, people will challenge you sometimes and they'll say, are your products FDA approved? Well, we have a great relationship with the regulatory agencies. We work hard, you know, to have one of the nicest, we believe we maybe have the nicest production facility in the world right now, where our products are made. We are vertically integrated. Rick stresses that. We do everything ourselves. It's all there, from bringing it in, selecting it, you know, concocting the idea or formulating it, making it, packaging it, labeling it, and even to the point we ship it out ourselves. It's all vertically integrated. That's vertical integration is what that's called. And so these are areas that are really, really important. So that is just a quick little introduction to cardio care. So we expect that, you know, pretty darned important. We talked about our plush hydration product. What's water do? Same thing that our blood's, you know, tied into this, right? It's going to carry in nutrients, carry away waste, and it's going to plump every cell so that you're going to function at your top level. So here we come around to the mind and vision. And the mind and vision, the ingredients are lutein from Floragrow. Floragrow is from marigolds. Kind of cool, right? Tough little flower that can grow in like really dry, difficult conditions. Pretty little flower. Lutein, most everybody has heard of lutein because as an antioxidant for eye health, it has been discovered and been highly touted. This is one of the ultimate sources of lutein. Huperzine, DMAE, N-acetyl L-carnitine, bilberry extract, and detoxolite. One of the things that a little bit weird about me, when I take a new capsule or a new something that we've got, I always chew it up and eat it like nuts. I tell you what, this Plus Vision capsule, the flavor of it is very berry. I mean, if you put it in your mouth, it's going to turn everything red in there, and you're going to taste like you got a hold of a whole field full of berries in your mouth when you chew that up. You're going to feel like a bear in the woods. And so bilberry was kept in the aircraft by the pilots in World War II to improve their night vision and their visual acuity, their recovery. If you've ever seen a sniper and he gets into a place where there's light, or a pilot, they'll close one eye to protect the night vision in the other eye. So use one eye to see, and the other one, they protect the night vision. And that's going to do the same kind of things. So that's just a real quick introduction. It's kind of cool that the eyes are really close to their brain in most people. I talk to people about holding your detox light products in your mouth for a moment before you swallow them, because there's all kinds of benefits. And for most people, the top of their mouth is real close to the bottom of their brain, so you might get some extra benefits there. That's just, you know, carpentry. But I'm working on you know, getting my mind around and being able to present these new products, and so those are some of the thoughts. And you guys bring each other to life. You know, listening to Dave tonight, I was thinking, okay, am I ready to speak? And you know, just listening to you guys and listening to Christine introduce him and highlight some of the things, and knowing what you've done with your SEAL team deal. This group is very important and very much alive. You know, have you ever seen those huge saws where the saw blade is you know, that big around, and the blades and they sharpen it? In the old days, they used to sharpen it. And if you think you're the metal that's just inside, and the cutting part is out in front of you, and then each time it sharpens it, it gets closer and closer to you. Well, guess what's happened? For the people on this call, you're on the sharp part of the blade now. You're the ones that are touching the people. You're the ones that are, you know, bringing the information and making the cut. And so that's what I see here. And I knew it was going to happen here. That's why I've hung around with you guys every time I get a chance. And blessings to everybody. And that's kind of what I got for tonight.
Oh, Chip, thank you. And you know, it's so cool like that we're here together tonight, getting to know people through the time I've been involved with Avini, Dave's experience and his passion, 50 years. Like, I had a long conversation with him today. He didn't even share like how much he knows about heart health. Like, this man's been all over the world to deal with heart health. So he knows what he's talking about, I promise you. You know, unfortunately, we always have very short time on these calls, but last night, the corporate call, if you missed the summit, I urge you to go back and thank Rick Cotter for putting that up, all the work he does. Like, this is a team of the most professional people, and just everyone steps up to the plate. So Chip, thank you. We kind of threw you in there, but we have detailed on all of the products from Rick's explanation on stage. It was recorded last night, and God bless him, because we know he was tired last night and he still did a brilliant job. But, you know, many of you have heard of it. I'd like to see just a hand. Have you ever heard of the brain and gut? Right? The brain and gut connection. So when I was at Summit Las Vegas, what I heard from the stage, I've always been blessed to be out ahead of a lot of things in my life, you know, and new things before anybody else has. And what I heard is the brain eye, what Rick spoke about. Like, wow, like how many people drive your car at night and have problems with night vision? Hello. So we have a good message to share. God bless Neil. Loves Neil's accent, but more appreciate his heart and his compassion for the people, Rick and Doug and all of you. You can unmute for a minute because Carol has something to share.
Yes.
We're going to be back here next week. We have a lineup. I'm going to be better at giving you a lineup of people and guests to kind of who's going to be on. So when you have someone a particular issue, you know, I'm going to do better at having a lineup. But we're going to have the opportunity to have many people come forth and share. Time is always the issue. I'm a time person, so try to hold that. But brain and gut, well, now we got brain and eyes. So all of us will benefit from that. And Carol, before we say goodnight, what would you like to share? I know you want to share something tonight.
Yes, I do.
I
Guys,
don't know if you guys noticed, but I
okay.
just peeked down the page a little bit. Neil is with us. I just
Yeah.
peeked down the page.
Neil.
Neil's down there.
Ah, Neil, that's all
At
you.
least say hi to him.
Yes.
Thank you, Neil.
Hi, Neil.
Yeah, God bless Neil.
Hey, Neil.
What a team, right? Neil, that was a great presentation last night. Thank you for all you do. And I know everyone here is grateful.
Mm,
So
Yes,
thank
for
you
sure.
yeah.
for coming back to work out of retirement because we need you.
This thing is retirement anymore. Are you kidding?
I know, right?
But thank you all. And I try to stop in on these calls all the time so I can keep in touch with everybody. So it's been a great call. Thank you for letting me listen in.
It's been amazing.
We're
So
grateful
guys-
for you and awesome team. So, if you miss the summit, please make sure that you come to the regional conferences. Carol will let you do that in a minute. We got Idaho Falls coming up in June, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Portland, Oregon, Richmond, Virginia, and then Boca Raton, Florida. So those are the regionals that will be coming up shortly. There's one of them, Idaho Falls, is open. Go in your back office or avinievents.com and you can sign up. What's real important is that we know that you're going so they know what the head count is. Okay, so that's important to do, but keep an eye on your back office. But before we say au revoir, Carol wants to make a little announcement. And again, thank you, Dave. Blessings to you and your family,
Thank you.
Chip always, and everyone that attended tonight. Go ahead, Carol, if you would.
All right. So everyone, I have the pleasure of having Doug Dickey, Kyle Helm, Ed Kwaski, and Christine at my home next week, May 10th, Friday, from 7 to, I think, 9 p.m. And I'm going to open up my Zoom to invite you guys to come and be a part of it. I'm going to have people in my home and also on Zoom because a lot of my team are not local. So this is really to support building a local group for my team. And I want to invite all of you because you guys you're our family. So we want you to come and be a part of that and hear Doug's amazing whenever he shares. It's just absolutely amazing. So I feel so blessed to have this opportunity. And guys, I'm meeting Christine. After knowing her since 2012, I'm meeting her for the first time. For the first time, we have tried to meet one another 4 times, I think, in our lives, and it didn't work. And now I'm going to get to meet her, and I'm so excited, and she's going to be my guest. So I'm so excited, but I want to invite you all to come. It's going to be on this Zoom next week, next Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Doug is going to speak to us. Kyle's going to be there. Ed's going to be there. Christine's going to be there. Many of us are going to be here. And I want the whole family of Avini coming. Guys, invite your friends. Make sure that you have people here for that event because this is what turns things around. Doug,
Carol, that's 7 to 9 Eastern?
yes.
Eastern.
Correct.
Eastern
Okay.
Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time. Yes, absolutely.
Gotcha.
7 to 9 p.m. This Zoom. So it's the same Zoom, and so you'll get to join in and invite
Next week, not
Yes,
this week. Gotcha.
yes, next Friday.
May 10th, next Friday, May 10th.
Next Friday, May 10th. Yes.
All right, everyone. Thank you. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you, Dave Neff. Thank you for being
Thank you, Dave.
here.
You have
You're all wonderful. We'll see you next week. And don't forget the call on Saturday morning. Listen in because Rick will also be doing a review of the product. So thank you all. Have a blessed
Thank
night.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
This
Bye,
recording,
guys.
this
Thank you.
recording will be up. You'll be able to get this recording. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Dave.
Carol.
Thank you all.
Great job. Great job.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
Christine.
y'all both.
Bye,
Bye, Christine.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Dave.
Bye,
everyone.
Bye.
Chip, of course.
I love it.
Bye, Jim.